Welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, episode number 72. My name is Tony B. Alongside me, as usual, is David B. Timmy D's back in the house.
Yeah.
Nice. Today's topics, we have driver Rich, who drives for Walmart. You can catch him on YouTube, and we'll find out how you find him on YouTube. Also, we'll look at some trucking stocks. We are just three Americans discussing the topics that affect the transportation industry. Our views, the views of us three, are purely news-driven and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any business entity that uses a transportation provider. Tim, why do we do it?
Transportainment.
Boom. That's right. Transportainment. You can catch us on all the platforms. You Google us in the search engine and you can find us on Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Rumble, YouTube, I said already, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and our home website, ShipsGonnaHappen.com. And we're going to get into meeting driver Rich from Walmart. But first, David B.
Good Saturday morning to the both of you guys. It's good to have Rich coming on the show with us. And it's a beautiful Saturday morning. Not too warm and not too cool. Just a nice drive in. Coming through downtown Indy this morning. The sun smacking you in the face early in the morning. And just a good drive, and it's going to be a beautiful Saturday. This show, along with all of our other shows, brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go after a Ship's Gonna Happen week. Unwind, chat it up with the locals, get a good meal, have listen to some good music on a Friday night, and just a good spot to go. The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. Timmy D, how are you this morning, my friend?
What's going on, folks? And Tony B, David B, thanks for having me back again in the studio. Trying to think where I was last week. I just
golf outing, right?
Or a trip or something.
Where was I?
Fishing?
Fishing. I went fishing. Lake area. That's right. We got pulled over by the Coast Guard, so random thoughts. We'll go into something about that. But
there is a pic on my phone we need to discuss.
Yeah. Anyways, we got Rich on the hook. What a great driver he is, not just for Walmart, but for the industry in a whole. You guys should check him out. He'll let us know how to find him, but I'm excited to interview him, and I'm excited to see you guys again. And we're a little bit earlier today. We got a 1-year birthday party for my child. So
happy birthday,
little guy.
Some donut holes down his throat this morning, and feeding the dog one for him, one for the dog. So it's pretty cool.
Timmy D never shows up with donuts. He shows up with guacamole.
Oh, yeah, we got the walk-off coming up, so...
Well, we're going to discuss that.
We're doing a taco bar. That's why I'm going to let y'all sample, see where we're at. You know what I mean?
Already planning ahead.
That's it. Ship's going to happen. We'll do it for the transportainment.
All right. Hey, Rich, are you on?
I am.
Oh man, booming.
That's a good voice.
There's that booming radio voice. You sound like Wolfman Jack.
That is. Can you hear us better, Rich?
Jack?
Yeah, you never heard Wolfman Jack?
Oh, yeah.
This is Wolfman Jack, LA at 95.
Nice. Well done. Rich, can you hear us?
A little bit before my time, but I know who he is. I was actually in radio long before I became a truck driver.
Really?
Back when I was trying to figure out what to do with my life. My dad was a truck driver when I was a kid, and I used to ride around with him a lot. And he always told me the one thing I'd never do is grow up to be a truck driver. So, oops.
You made that mistake.
So let's talk about those.
There wasn't no Walmart money back in the 80s when he was doing the things he was doing, like going over to Mexico to pick up some pharmaceuticals to make that turnaround and all that other stuff. So It's a little different nowadays.
Right.
Pharmaceuticals. Was he the neighborhood pharmacist or was he?
No, he just need a little self-prescription once in a while. That's back in the day when you ran 3 logbooks, all that kind of stuff.
Nice. Well, welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen show, Rich. It's good to have you on this Saturday morning. Can you hear us okay? Can you hear us better?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what you mentioned about your days in radio. How did you get into that? What got you started in that? And where did you broadcast? Were you up north in Indiana broadcasting, or where were you doing that from?
Yeah, basically, I mean, I was into radio ever since I was a kid. I mean, when I was 7 years old, and a lot of you guys will be able to remember this, back in the day when you could take a tape player and it had 2 decks on it, and you could play on one side, you could press play and record on the other, and you could tape what was over there. Mm-hmm. And then if there was something coming on the radio, you could tape off to that. Well, I found out that if I took a pair of like earbuds or headphones, back then it was headphones, And if you talked into the headphones and you had them plugged into the microphone port, you could actually record yourself. Now, how that works, I have no idea, but I figured that out. So I started pretending I was the DJ. I would play a song and then I would come in with the headphones and do a weather report or, whatever was going on. And I loved it. I've been doing it since I was a kid. And then once I grew up, I did theater in high school. I was a first-year thespian, did a lot of acting community-wise, and then started working for a local radio station in Valpo. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Indiana 105, but I used to run the boards and stuff during basketball games. And then I went to school for it over in Illinois. There was a place called Illinois Center for Broadcasting. So I did that. I actually worked for Mancow as an intern.
No way.
And I was an intern for Mancow for 3 months. And they're just once I got to a point, I realized there was no money in it. I had a lot of people tell me if you make your age, you're going to be very lucky unless you're one of the 1% that makes the big time money in a big market. It's like being a superstar athlete. It's that you'd be that lucky to make any kind of money in it. And I had a girlfriend and she had 2 boys. And I was like, yeah, I can't be doing this. I got to do something else. So I sold Schwann's ice cream for a couple years, got my Class B.
Wow.
And I told my dad, I said, look, I said, I ran my own karaoke business for 15 years. And I said, look, I said, this just isn't doing it. I said, I know you didn't want me to be a truck driver. I said, but I need to find a skill. I need to do something. So I went to a local school up here and, kind of like the guy you were talking to a couple weeks ago. I went to school for 4 weeks. They taught me just enough to get my license. But I had a little bit of knowledge under my belt because I went with my dad as a kid and whatnot. So I jumped behind the wheel and I started working over the road for a couple years. And then I did trucking for a company out of Lansing, Illinois. It was a Teamster position where they sold windows. It was owned by Anderson for a little bit, but then it was it's actually called Silverline Windows, and I used to have to deliver windows to Home Depots and stuff, and helping windows and patio doors got to be a little too much, and I went to work for a dump truck combination company and did that working around the steel mills for a while, and I said, you know what, I'm getting to be 45 years old, and I said I need to start doing something that's got a pension or a 401k or something because the Teamster one that I was with didn't have it. And I told my dad, I said, I thought about applying for Walmart, but it's hard to get into. I don't know if they'll take me. And he goes, well, the worst you could do is apply. So I did, and I got in, and that's how I got to where I'm at now.
Now you're with the Cadillac of carriers, right? I mean, you're
that's what I'm told.
Nice. Yeah, and that's going well for you so far?
Walmart is the best thing I've probably ever done in my life. I tell people I'm semi-retired. Because here at Walmart, they treat their drivers so well. I know there was an issue with a CEO in the past, which I wasn't here for that. And that was about 10 years ago. And there's some drivers who, if you talk to some old school drivers, they may have, different of opinion about Walmart from back then. But right now, the things that they've done for us in the past year or two is just absolutely amazing. I'm making more money, almost double what I've ever made in my entire life. I mean, wow. I work a 5-2-5-3 schedule, which means I'm on 5, off 2, on 5, off 3. So I work the least number of days you can possibly work without being on a 5 and 5, which is the semi-retired schedule. So I work the least number of hours. I average 4.5 days per week, or 9 days a paycheck. And I'm going to make 110 just farting around delivering groceries.
Wow. And
that's awesome.
Everybody else is going to make more than me. There are guys here that I know make at least 140.
Wow.
140?
140,000.
Right. So it's real. Wow. So it's real what they say about when we've reported on it, and so it's real. The money's real at Walmart, right?
It not just the money, but just the way they've changed the atmosphere of things. I mean, I have Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance. It's the cheapest insurance, and it's the best insurance I've ever had. When I worked for these other companies, like I said, I was looking for some sort of retirement. The best they could do is they had maybe a 1% match on their 401k or 3%, but you had to do 50 cents on the dollar. At Walmart, they give you 6%, 100% dollar for dollar, up to 6%.
Dang.
They give you 15% off on, if you want to buy Walmart stock, they give you a 15% discount up until you can purchase up to $1,800 a year.
So Rich,
with that discount.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So Rich, Timmy D's a lot younger than David, but David and I are wondering right now, what is the age cutoff for a Walmart driver?
Yeah, I remember like, dude.
There isn't one. I had a guy apply and get in not but a month or two ago who was 60 years old. And he was like, am I too old? And I said, no. I said, you know, you may not be here for 5 or 10 years or whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. So the 401k, that may not be a big benefit to you, but you know, he's getting older. The insurance was something he was looking at. And on my YouTube video channel, I've showed my exact paycheck. I took my paycheck and posted it right there for everybody to see in black and white.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing to hide. It's all right there.
And so, Rich, you ran out of Gas City then?
I do. I started in Seymour, Indiana. Which is a GM or a general merchandise. And I live up in Northwest Indiana, exit 230 off I-65 North, right there at the little town called Roselawn.
Mm-hmm. And Roselawn in the region.
Yep.
Yeah, well, there's only two reasons people know where I live. It's because they know the exit or they know the communities that I live around. There's 2 nudist colonies in my little town of 500 people.
You guys have the naked whatever once a year, right? What am I thinking of? Like there's a whole
it's
bash,
called Nudes
right?
of Poppin'. It's like the weekend after the 4th of July. Yeah, that's every year they do that.
That's where I was last week, folks. I was not up north fishing.
Yeah,
Truth be told,
this is a PG-rated show.
If my baby mama's listening, I was fishing.
Well, yeah, the Black Oak Bayou is only 2 miles down the street from it, so I mean, you know.
Right, exactly.
I've actually seen pictures of this place. This is legit. This is real life, folks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they had the cast from that show, the Al Bundy, Married with Children. They had the cast with Married with Children out there one year.
Wow.
They've had a lot of the adult film stars there.
Hold on.
Right.
Did she have her hair fixed up and her boobs out? My gosh, those things were.
I wasn't there for it. I just saw the billboard.
Oh,
okay.
Back to trucking. Let's get back to trucking.
But anyway, I mean, the other thing about Walmart is, I think I sent you guys some information, and I'm getting ready to do a video on this. Is Walmart has something that I'd never heard of even before I started working here called Walmart Heart. And it's basically where all the drivers take their time, they take their trucks and they go to a store somewhere in the area. Like, I think it's in a couple weeks. We're going to go to Seymour, Indiana, and we're raising money for a little girl who has some sort of a disability. And apparently they do this about once a month where all the drivers get together. They make the child an honorary driver for the day. They give him a uniform to wear. They put him up in one of the trucks, and we do a big parade through the town. And then we go to the store in that area, and we do raffles and raise money, things like that. The drivers buy an item for the child. I think this child's into art, so they're buying an art table or something that's fitted for the disability that she has. And just all kinds of stuff like that. So the Walmart drivers are some of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. Kind of like motorcycle group, I don't want to say gangs, but groups that get a bad name. Some of those guys are some of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. They raise a ton of money for different things. I realize Walmart drivers are kind of the same way. Nice. They also do a lot of stuff for veterans. They do wreaths across America at Christmas time. I don't exactly know how that raises money, but I know that they do a lot of stuff for veterans. So Walmart's not just a big corporation, trying to make a buck. The drivers and the people that work at Walmart are out to make a difference as well.
That's awesome. And Rich did send information about that fundraiser for next Saturday that I haven't spoken with the both of you about just yet, but it would be nice maybe if we could pop down there and maybe meet some people and shake some hands and kind of be involved.
So the Walmart Seymour, is it a super Walmart? Folks that don't know, Seymour is not very big in Indiana outside of the Walmart DC, which probably produces about, I'd say 70% of the jobs out of Seymour would be my guess. And I believe that DC is what, 1017, right? Or 6067?
I think it's 60. oh gosh, I was there.
6017. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
6017.
Yeah, 6017.
Yeah.
It's exit 50 right off of I-65 down on the southern part of Indiana.
There's a big buck that lives right outside it, by the way, right against the fence. I used to get my drivers used to send me pictures all the time because I love to hunt. And they're like, "Look at this guy, and he just grows every year." Just so you know.
Right, there we go. There we go. So, Rich, I'm gonna backtrack on your story a little bit. Going back to your radio, living up in Northwest Indiana, I'm sure Chicago radio was huge influence for you growing up, like WLS, WGN, WBBM. Did those stations were those a big part of your growing up?
I can remember WLS a little bit. I was more into WGN. I was a big Cubs fan, so I was constantly listening to Cubs games and things like that. Yeah, I mean, but definitely Chicago. I know sometimes back in the day when you had the rabbit years, you could pick up South Bend or you could pick up Chicago here in Northwest Indiana, but ours was always Chicago.
Yeah. So did you hop the L and go up to see a Cubs game every now and again?
I did that a couple times. Usually we drove. We would park somewhere about a mile away where the parking was only $10 instead of 25. But well, back in the day, it was that cheap anyway. Now I hear it's 100. But
Right.
yeah, we would do that, or we would go up and park somewhere and then walk through the city and get back to the ballpark.
There you go. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a nice area up there. Timmy D and I have been up and helped hop the L to go downtown for various reasons and stuff. So it's just an easy way to get to and from Chicago and not have to pay, like you're saying, not have to pay the amount of money to park or whatever.
Yeah, and pay the tolls and all the traffic and everything else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Rich, what was it like working for Mancow? I grew up in Chicago, so
it wasn't what you think it is. I learned a lot, but I kind of equate it to a little kid learning about Santa Claus. Because working for Mancow, he was actually a really nice guy. He wasn't anything like you would think on the radio.
right.
And being an intern, it was, I actually I actually started an online radio station for a while called Region Radio. It's no longer in existence, but I worked with Big Head Tony, if you remember him.
I work with him every Saturday.
Okay, well, he was on Region Radio. He ran our rock station for about 2 years. Now he runs his own internet radio station. But I've done stuff with him. But when I was there, it was basically it was Turd, of course. But then there was also the crippled guy. I can never remember his name off the top of my head. But anyway, I never really got to see a lot of the microphones because being an intern, I was basically the guy that was looking for the questions and answers for the answer is C or whatever trivia they were doing that day. That's basically the kind of stuff that I was doing. I was making the stuff that he was reading on the show. The closest I got to being on the show was one time as an intern. They locked me in this room. They closed the door and they said, okay, here's the scenario. You're going to call in. You're going to pretend that you have a son who you caught working on homework with a male friend of his. And when you walked in, they were kissing each other, and Mancow's going to talk about that. So, and this was back in the 90s when the LGBTQ pride, all this wasn't even a thought back then. So this was a big topic. You had guys calling in going, I'd disown my kid. I'd send him to military school. I mean, it was just something to push a button. That's all the show was. Almost none of the stuff was ever real. It was an intern sitting in a closet somewhere making stuff up to get people riled up for the shock jock radio.
Wow. All right.
Sorry to burst anybody's bubble.
You're killing it.
I worked in radio in college, and what you said happens. The one that gets me, the one that's the funniest is, free tickets or the next caller, right? A lot of that's all planned out, man. They can't risk a no call dead air. They can't risk that. So they have to kind of plan that out.
You're right.
I will.
Yeah, they may grab a caller an hour before and say, "Hey, do you want to play the game?" And then during a break, they record that segment, and then that segment gets replayed. And you're 100% right.
Yeah. We used to. So I did Toys for Tots out there in Terre Haute back in the day when I was in the military, and the local radio station would 48 hours. That's all they talked about was Toys for Tots and all music all the time, blah, blah, blah. And then they would say they were sleeping in the mall and all that. And it was just all pre-recorded stuff that they have done a couple weeks prior, but they would be live at the mall during, we'll call it 6 hours or whatever it was, but they were always on the radio for 48 hours, didn't sleep, and slept in the mall and took turns, and it was all played out. But it's pretty cool, right? You're listening to it, and it's, the janitor, I can see the janitor sleeping over here, and just making up stupid stories, and it's actually pretty entertaining. Yeah, it is. But knowing the background makes it even more entertaining about, man, they were really dreaming some stuff up. So.
Yeah, they have to keep it going. So tell us about how Walmart can impact a young driver's life if they're looking to get into this industry, Rich.
Well, the other thing about Walmart is, I don't know if you guys have seen it on my YouTube, but I'm in the process of trying to do a bariatric surgery because I'm pushing about 480 right now. And Walmart has a thing called a Center of Excellence. So what it is and it doesn't work with the bariatric surgery, but they will cover up to I only got to pay $6,000 for the surgery. Wow. But if you were to have a bad knee, a bad shoulder, or if something was to happen where you had cancer, heart attack, whatever, these centers of excellence, Walmart will pay for your recovery and your surgeries and all of that stuff at 100%.
That's incredible.
The money is absolutely amazing. Like I said, if you're a young person and you're getting in, and you're getting that 15% discount on the stock, and you're getting that 6% match on the 401k, which is a Roth or a traditional. You can put it in whichever one you want. There's a lot of flexibility with that. I mean, you could retire. I mean, there's guys who work here for 20 years and retire a millionaire.
Wow.
I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And then the workload is great. I mean, if you work at a GM like a Seymour, you may get away from the DC a little bit more because you may take a load from there and you go to a store, you take that empty, you might go to another DC somewhere and drop that empty, pick up a load, and it's a lot of drop and hook. So you're not busting your butt trying to unload stuff. Actually, you're not allowed to touch anything. If you're in the store, you open the door and they start unloading stuff and a box falls off a pallet, you're not allowed to go in there and pick it up. They want the associate to go in there and pick it up. And I don't say this to sound like an ass, but they do it because, how do I say that? I don't want to say you're worth more, but mathematically, you are worth more because they can pull another employee from another store. They can hire another associate in the matter of hours, train them in a day, and put them on the floor. When it comes to a driver, I mean, you have to go to 1 week of onboarding. Then you have to go to a week of your orientation. And then you have to ride for 2 weeks with a mentor for training and all that stuff. Even though you have to have 3.5 years of experience, Walmart still has their drivers go through all this to make sure they know what they call the Walmart way. But once you get in, like I said, the work is not that they don't want you touching a box that falls there. You basically unlock the padlock. You open the door, you let the associates take care of everything else. If you work at a grocery DC like I do, you get back to the DC every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. And you're not getting paid just by the mile. You're getting paid for every activity. And by activity, I'm even sleeping in your truck. If you sleep in your truck overnight, that's $42 just to sleep in your truck. They're paying you, I think it's 14, 13. So I can't remember. It's like 12, maybe it's $12.50, something like that, just to bump a dock. When you arrive to a store, when you arrive to a DC, when you drop a trailer, when you hook a trailer. I mean, basically, if you breathe funny, you're getting paid something for doing it on top of, and I want to say the starting is 58 cents a mile or something like that. But the mileage pretty much doesn't even matter because you're getting paid on all this other stuff. That my average day pay is about $400 a day. So for a younger driver, I mean, they come in here, the world is their oyster at that point because they'll retire a multimillionaire by the time they put in 30 years.
Wow. So, Rich, when you and I talked last week, you mentioned something about your dock to driver program. Can you touch base on that a little bit for us, please?
Okay. Are you talking about the one that's for the associates?
Yeah, the one you mentioned where.
Okay. I can only give you a basic synopsis because Sean is actually who was my mentor, who was on one of the videos that you'll see on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I've seen him. Yep.
He is actually one of the guys that's going to be in this running this program as a CDT, which is Certified Driver Trainer. But basically what it is Walmart is trying to hire 5,000 drivers, I believe, over the next 3 years. They're trying to become self-sufficient because outside carriers are costing them more than it would if they had their own drivers, because their own drivers are not trying to be mean, but they're safer. They don't tear up the equipment. It's cheaper, just money wise. So they're trying to. There's a lot of docks like over here in Fort Wayne and a couple other places where they have a company that's and a couple of Walmart drivers that are outsourcing. So they're trying to replace all that. They're trying to make it all Walmart drivers. So what they've done is they've gone to all of the Walmart employees, whether they're working in a dock, they're working in a store, and they're basing this off of seniority. So people who've been here the longest are going to get the first crack at this, but they're offering them the opportunity to become a Walmart driver. And at first, when I was talking to Sean about this, I was like, wait, what do you mean? I had to be out here for 3.5 years. I had to put, I'm out here for 10, but I had to put in my time. I had to put in my experience, and they're just going to let these guys come in. They're going to go through a 12-week program where they get trained how to drive a truck. They drive with a guy for weeks at a time or whatever over this 12-week course. And then they just come in as a Walmart driver. That's not fair. And Sean goes, well, think about it. He goes, would you rather have some guy off the street who's only here for the money, that doesn't care about the culture, doesn't care about the company, doesn't care about the other drivers, and is just here for the dollar? Or would you ever rather a guy that maybe worked on the dock for 10 years or worked in a store for 10 years, who loves the company, who likes the company, and is going to be a team player? I said, well, man, when you put it that way, I guess you're right.
Well, that makes sense.
So these people go
this.
through a 12-week program, and then they become a truck driver, and they don't get to keep their seniority as far as like the truck driver part goes. They come in, they start at the bottom wage, they start at the bottom rung as a truck driver. But every year we go through what's called they repost the driver positions, because you don't get a truck right off the bat. They do have, this is the one what most people call bad thing at Walmart is what their slip seating is. You get a truck on your Monday, you clean it out on your Friday. The next week you come back, you get a different truck on your Monday, and you clean it out at the end of that week. That's what Walmart slip seating is. It's not normal slip seating where you stay in a motel, you're in a different truck every day or nothing like that. It's not like that. But to get your own truck, you got to be here. Sean's got his own truck. He was only here for 3 years.
Wow.
It's assigned to him. It's his. He can leave his stuff in it, whatever. I was here 2 weeks and got onto a 5.3, 5.2 program. So they don't, every year you got to rebid, and, as guys retire, guys move into other positions, whatever, you can rebid on the trucks. That's what you're bidding on, is the trucks. There's no routes. Everybody gets the same stuff because it's all sent from a central command center somewhere in Ohio that divvies out the route, so it's fair and there's no favoritism, stuff like that. But so these new people start out at the bottom rung, and then they got to work their way up that way. They don't get to keep their seniority for that, but they do get to keep their seniority for their PTO time, because that's how we accrue PTO time here. Is every hour you work is like 0.001 or whatever, which your first year still equates to like 21 PTO days your first year.
What?
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
And then you also get 4 safety days on top of every quarter that you drive safely. You get a paid day off for safety as well. So your first year, you can have 24 paid days off, whether you vacation, whatever your holidays, whatever you want to use it on.
Dang, that's nice.
Knocking down six figures with a month off.
Can't beat that.
Yeah,
basically 11 months.
Basically, there's guys here, I swear, that are they're on vacation more than they work.
Wow.
Rich, I gotta stop the show right now. First of all, you listen to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Secondly, when I watched some of your videos, I was impressed with your Walmart backing, how to pass the onboarding. You actually pulled a die-cast truck out and showed and set up pennies. and showed how to back into a strenuous backup. Can you hit that for us real quick and tell us what that was about?
I actually wasn't sure if I wanted to share that video because I thought maybe, I'm cheating and I'm giving away secrets. But when I started my YouTube channel, I never meant for it to be anything. I was looking for some of this information when I went to Walmart and I couldn't find it. There were some Walmart drivers out there, but they just kind of talk about their day or, they were from California. They really weren't out here. They didn't really show like, what do you need to know? So I just made some videos and I was like, I'm going to do these little videos. I'll put them on YouTube. And if people use them, great. I thought, maybe 100 people will watch them. I never thought it would really be much. But once I started doing it, I started getting more and more emails asking questions. So I would do videos on the questions that were coming in. On that video, I thought I would catch some flack from people. And I thought Walmart might even go, hey, you need to take that one down. But they were like, no. And here's why. I set up the pennies as kind of like where they would put the cones. The pennies are cones. And I took the little Walmart. It's actually a Pez dispenser. They gave us, it's in a Christmas gift. But, the Pez are gone. Gee, go figure. But so I took the truck and I basically showed them what they're going to do at onboarding. Because a lot of people, that's the one thing that they get knocked out for. It's not that they don't pass the road test. It's not that they don't pass the pre-trip, which with my class, I'm the kind of guy, I like to micromanage and do stuff. I was compiling a pre-trip guide that I could study from. And then a couple guys in the class were like, hey, well, I'll do that with you. So we all got to, my whole class, 14 of us, we all got together. We all sat down and compared notes and went over what the pre-trip was because they show you what they want you to do. And then I went to the hotel, I typed it all up, I printed it out, gave a copy to everybody in the class. Nobody failed the pre-trip. Nice. So I give everybody, if you go on my YouTube and you send me an email, I will give you a copy of my pre-trip, which now I don't know where Walmart got this idea. I'm not saying they got it from me, but they now give you a pre-trip guide on your first day class.
Wow.
So, and everybody has told me it's nearly exactly like mine.
Why did you use pennies? All the money you're making, they should be $half. At least silver dollars down. I'm just putting it out there.
I could have used quarters, I guess, but my wife and I are coin collectors as a hobby, and I just happen to have a jar of pennies sitting there, so I just get some.
That's awesome.
That's the only thing I could knock you on right now. I mean, my gosh, you're speaking to a whole different level, man. You're killing it.
So in your
so I showed people how to do the back. And I did have one guy get on there, and he was like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You're giving away secrets." And I said, "Look, man," I said, "here's the thing." I said, "I can show you 17 million times how to do everything in this course." I said, "But can you get in that truck and do the work? If you can't, watching this video isn't going to do you a darn bit of good. You got to be able to perform. You got to do what truckers have got to do. So if you can't pass it, you can't pass it. Me showing you what the layout's going to be really isn't that big of a deal." Right. And he didn't really have much to say about it. And Walmart was like, "Yeah, we agree with you. If they can't do it, they can't do it." So they let me keep it up because I had to ask about it because I did have a discussion with legal about the same time we were going to come on your show a couple months ago, and legal contacted me and said, "Hey, we need to talk to you before you go on the show so you know what to talk about." And I was like, "What?" And then basically all it was they just wanted to say, "Hey, try not to talk about politics and religion and things about that. Try not to."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Well, this podcast don't talk about none of that anyway, so no big deal." So that was all that was. And so they were like, "Yeah," they're like, "Your video's fine. You didn't besmirch Walmart. You weren't MFing us or nothing like that." And like I said, they agreed that a driver can see the layout all they want, but that they can't get in there and do the work. They can't do the work. So it's on them.
Hey, Rich, first question, how do people find you on YouTube and what's your channel? If you could mention that. And then secondly, were you and your wife, you guys were in separate rooms or separate houses during that YouTube thing?
I think I used to use a program called StreamYard. Mm-hmm. I actually think, if I remember the video correctly, she was just sitting on the other side of the wall. I was in the studio and she was on the other side of the wall. We were both on our phone using this program.
Nice. That's phone video. That's nice video.
Yeah, those are just our cell phones. We have Samsung, whatever the newest model
Wow.
whatever
With
they
all your
are.
money, you could have whatever phone you wanted, I guess.
Yeah, well, I had an iPhone once for about
I
3
got a
months, and
satellite
while it
phone.
was on the charger,
Yeah.
it caught smoke and started on fire, and I hated the iPhone. I never had one ever since, so we've always stuck with the Samsung. And to find the channel, basically, I think it's just my name. I think it's just Rich Warne Walmart Driver is the
Yeah.
name of it. Like I said, I didn't really
Real
think about
creative,
all that
Rich,
kind of stuff
real
when I was doing
creative.
this because I didn't think it was going to be a big deal. So I think it's just my name, and the last name is Warne.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. So, Rich, when you're delivering to stores, is it just mainly northern Indiana, or do you go into Ohio or Michigan, or?
It is basically just our region, which is like, being that I deliver groceries, I go from Gas City, I go a little bit into Michigan, a little bit into Ohio, all of Indiana, and just the very, very edge of the Chicagoland area, like maybe Homewood, a couple of the South Chicago stores. I think we do Tinley Park, we do Kankakee, Bourbonnais. That's pretty much about it. But we pretty much just stay in the area, in Indiana. And then there'll be a GM or a DC in Michigan that'll do Michigan and parts of Ohio and things like that. And then Ohio will have one, So we're spread out pretty good. You don't really go very far. That's why I said, as a grocery driver, you're going to be back to your home DC almost every single day, because that's where the fuel is at. We don't pay for fuel. You guys talk a lot about fuel prices. Every time you do, I just kind of go, whatever, because I don't have to care about it. They have a pilot truck that comes to our DC, fills up our tanks every day, and then we just drive into these little ports. We fill up our trucks on Walmart's dime. We take showers right there. They've got a big break room, big locker room, and it's pretty nice. I mean, they're as nice or nicer than the pilot showers or the TA showers or whatever you're going to find out there. They supply you the towels and washcloths and all that kind of stuff. And there's a big break room with refrigerators and vending machines and all that kind of stuff. And even at my DC, they actually have a company. There's a little place here in Gas City called Pops or something like that. I can't remember the name of it. It's Papa's or something, but it's a food truck / barbecue place. Well, they actually have a restaurant inside the DC where you can go in and get meals right there at the DC. Everything you possibly could need is right there at your DC. We hardly ever visit a truck stop unless it's to maybe get a cup of coffee or you got to use the bathroom on the road. Outside of that, we don't sleep at truck stops. We sleep at the stores or we sleep at the DC. Or if you live near the DC, a lot of guys, even though they don't have a go home daily run, they still go home daily because they live that close to the DC and they make it back to the DC every day.
So you actually pump your own gas? Walmart doesn't provide you with somebody to pump the gas for you?
It's funny you say that because they used to have a guy that did that. Some of the old timers were a little mad. They took that away. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I laugh about that because I'm like, guys, you're mad because you got to pump your own fuel. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy how great Walmart treats you. I mean, like for Truck Driver Appreciation Week, they had a food truck come out to the DC one day. They did a barbecue another day. They had a grilled chicken thing for another day. They gave us all new pairs of gloves and tire thumpers and, I mean, just goodie bags of stuff that truck drivers would want. We got jars of peanut butter and jelly and bread and cases of water. And, I mean, every single day it was like Hanukkah for truck drivers over Truck Driver Appreciation Week because we got something every single day. And then when you go to the stores even had stuff. Like they'd have bottles of water or snacks or, whatever. And it's kind of almost like that every day. I mean, every 30 days that we have a safe situation at the DC where we don't have any accidents, they do a hamburger and brat cookout for us.
That's cool.
They've got a thing now. If we make it 90 days, they're going to give us a ribeye steak dinner. And I tell you what, when they cook these ribeye steaks here at Walmart, they are awesome freaking steaks. They're huge. They make potatoes with them, like baked potatoes and stuff. I mean, it's like going to a steakhouse. The ribeyes, the steaks that they cook up on the grill for all the drivers, are that good. They'll pull up a reefer truck. They put all the meat in the reefer truck to keep it cold, and they'll have a guy out there all day just churning out steaks for every driver that comes up in there.
Nice. So you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. We have Walmart driver Rich Warne on, and just a reminder, Rich, you're not our first Walmart driver that we've interviewed. You should have been our first.
Should have been,
but
yeah.
you
I was
weren't.
gonna
So,
be.
yeah, I'm just digging at you a little bit. So, Rich, we're gonna take a moment here and induct you into our Ship's Gonna Happen Hall of Fame, HAUL of Fame.
Oh man. Oh, there's other guys I've heard much more worthy than I am.
No, you've got a great story, and it's a pleasure to have you on, and we like the fact that you listen to us often, and I like it when you give us a little critique and all that stuff. So, and it's good to have drivers like you listening to us all the time, and your stories are a great story.
Yeah, and I love your YouTube channel too, man. You sound like a true professional, and welcome to the Hall of Fame.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Man, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna call my mom.
So, Rich, you were talking about the surgery earlier. Is that something you plan on doing, or?
I spent the weekend in Cleveland last weekend, actually, talking to some of the doctors, the dietitians, the psychiatrists, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a lot that goes into that surgery that I was not aware of. So I'm on the fence. I thought it was, you just go, because I have a couple of people I know that have had it, and they're like, you just, they go in, they do the process, and then you just can't eat as much. And I thought, okay, and that's not so bad. I could use that. But then once they started telling me, for the first 6 weeks, you're going to be on a pureed diet, and you'll never be able to have sugar again because it can lead to diabetes because your stomach is so small, it absorbs the sugar real fast or something. Alcohol is another thing. You can't have more than a shot because your stomach's so small, it absorbs it so fast. And I'm like, no sugar, no alcohol. I might not ever be able to have like pizza or cake again. And I know that sounds stupid, but come to find out when I talked to psychiatrists last week, I actually have a severe food addiction. So I'm actually seeing a therapist, which again, I forgot to mention that. That's the other thing Walmart has. There's an app. It's a teledoctor app where you can just see a general physician or you can see any type of therapist, 100% free. I don't pay a dime for any of that. I see a therapist now every single week. I don't pay a dime for it. Walmart pays for everything.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So
I'm going to do some therapy, and I'm going to work on my weight and see what I can do. I'm buying a Fitbit. I'm going to start working on some things, but they've got a treadmill in our locker room where our uniforms are at Walmart. That's the other thing. Walmart pays for your uniforms. You can wear blue jeans, but they'll pay for the shirt, or they'll give you the work pants, the work shirt, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
But there's a treadmill in our locker room, so I'm going to start taking advantage of that and seeing what I can do and see if I can get myself in a healthier spot.
Hey, there's nothing better than walking on a treadmill listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. I'm just putting it out there.
Exactly.
Tim's always pushing the show.
Always.
Hey, so am I. I love your guys' show. I listen to it every time. I listen on Spotify, so every time I get the little ding, the notification pops up.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's usually because I work midnights. I deliver meat and produce to the grocery store. So while I'm driving around at night, I usually listen to you guys on my Monday out. You guys are one of the first podcasts I listen to. Then I listen to a bunch of sports stuff from Chicago. And then after that, I listen to the Dirty Jobs guy. He's got a podcast.
He's awesome.
That's new, right?
I
just
listen
came
to his
out
stuff.
last year.
Micro, yes.
Yeah. So listening to, sorry, Tim, go ahead.
I was just going to ask him on the delivering groceries. We talk about it even on this show about the lack of avocados was number one on the list on Tony B's list. Have you noticed, have your trucks been less full, more empty, whatever you would call that? Have you noticed as a first-hand driver that's going to these stores to deliver the produce or groceries as you are, have you noticed that you've had less on those trucks, and not because of the demand, but because Walmart doesn't have it to supply to the store? Have you noticed that at all?
No, actually, our trucks are almost never empty. We've got a situation right now where they just started doing this to where they maximize every single inch of space that they can, to where one guy might go and deliver the meat at that store, and then another guy will deliver the produce to the same store maybe an hour later.
Wow.
But I've still got 2 more stores on my truck. I usually have 3 or 4 stops on my truck every single night. So what happens is I'll deliver this. I may not have had enough room to put that third store on there, but I've got enough to put half of that third store. So my truck is usually completely full every single time I go out. The minute that I drop that stuff off, the store can't keep up with the demand. There are so many people buying so many products. That's why your shelves are empty. We cannot keep up with the demand that is out there right now.
So my other question, when you said they've got a new process, make sure that the whole truck is full, blah, blah, blah. With that being said, is it no-touch freight? That's another thing for Walmart as a driver. In your position, are you the one ensuring that your trailer's 100% full, or is it no-touch, you're just hooking and going?
No, like I said, you're semi-retired at Walmart. When it comes to when you work the GM, it's all drop and hook.
We're gonna rename you. You should rename semi-retired Rich Warne, driver for Walmart.
I mean, semi's kind of a play on words, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, with
man.
the groceries, I mean, I don't even drop and hook. When I back up to a dock, I go inside. They open the door. They take the stuff out. I put the padlock back on, and I go down. That's the most work I do is walk into the front door and waiting for them to let me in.
Yeah.
All right, folks, just so you know, driving a truck is not as easy as he's making it sound.
Yeah.
All right, he does work the whole time. He just doesn't know it because he's such a professional at it and very humble. But the pre-trips, backing to a dock, even if you had to use pennies to do it with a Pez dispenser, I mean, it is available, but there's a lot more into it than what Rich is giving it credit, especially where he's at, knowing that area and the traffic flow and how bad, especially 65, jumping on that guy. I know they're trying to expand it. They can't expand it fast enough. So, Rich, we appreciate everything you do from the Ship's Gonna Happen. I guarantee you that. You're a true Hall of Fame, as David B. would say. It's HAUL for folks listening, and you're listening to Rich on the Ship's Gonna Happen.
Hey, Rich, can you
Appreciate it, guys.
Rich, can you do us a favor? Can you give us, this is Rich Warne, and you're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Can you do something like that for us?
Sure thing.
Go ahead whenever
Yeah,
you're...
this is Trucker Rich Warren with Walmart. You're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast, baby.
Boom.
Nice. Yeah, so radio pipes coming out.
Enthusiasm at 9 o'clock on a Saturday, killing it. Nice.
So, Rich, we did talk last week that we do have a guac off coming up Friday, August the 12th. If you're in the area, we would love to have you stop by.
Yeah.
The minute that you guys mentioned that, I was like, I've been waiting for them to announce the date, and I went and looked at my schedule, and it's right smack in the middle of my work week.
Sorry.
So I don't think I'm going to make it unless I can get some PTO time, but that's not out of the question.
You bring that grocery truck down there from Walmart full of avocados, and we're going to get after it. So I brought a little warm up of guacamole. I'm going to let these boys try on air and see how their taste buds do.
Hey, Rich, you may be the way Tim's pushing this guacamole. It may be canned or bottled soon, and you may be hauling it to a Walmart store near you.
Yeah,
right. The way he's pushing this, he's a pusher, guacamole pusher.
Yeah.
If I see his face on a bottle, then I'll know what's up.
That's what you should do for the guacamole.
I'm gonna come up with my own logo. I'm gonna put it like mason jars. I'm gonna can it myself and show up.
Put a picture of yourself.
I'm just gonna hand it out to people. Put a logo
with your chain.
He's got a picture up at the Great Divide already because he's the champ. So yeah.
I'm sure I'm gonna get upset. I don't even know if I want to enter this year. I know last year they came up really close. They're tasting my stuff and they're realizing what wins, and they're starting to modify their recipe. And I don't like that.
Yeah. So now it's like, let's find the second best closest to Tim.
Right.
Well, there was one girl that's entering, and she said she's going to put banana peppers in hers so her friends know who to vote for.
Yeah.
Not because it's good, just so she's buying votes. That's all.
Buying votes.
And the proceeds this year go to benefit the Indiana School for the Blind. So
We'll see. We're doing our best to raise some money. Indiana School for the Blind, good cause, and any money we got will go directly to them. There's no overhead cost. There's not some of those charities out there. 90% go to the people that's running the organization. Versus that, we're just going to cut a check and be done. If you ever do get in Indianapolis, let me know. I tell you right now, I found the best, I call them guacamoles, the best avocados out there last night. I'm telling you, they were just nice. They were just, you know how you got to touch every avocado out there to know a good avocado. There's too soft, too firm. This had just the right squeeze on it.
On the avocados.
You still talking about avocados?
Yeah, he never stops. Some people, when they go to bed at night, count sheep. Tim counts avocados.
David B's getting up to try them.
Yeah, I'm gonna open it. And give it a,
Here we go, David
There
B.
we go.
He's gonna give it the old
I want Tony to try.
taste test.
Rich, I know you're driving, and be safe. If you want to stick around, you're more than welcome. These guys are going to try this out, and then Tony's going to talk about some stocks, I think.
Yeah,
so it's up to you, Rich, if you want to hang out. They're digging in right now.
Well, actually, I'm going to be getting to a spot here where I'm going to have to get off of here, so I'm going to go ahead and hang up. But I'll listen back to the podcast and listen to the rest of it that I don't get to hear when it comes out.
Hey, Rich, thank you for your time, man. You are an all-star.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you're awesome.
you letting us know about Walmart and getting on the show. And I'm glad you found a great place to work. And, it sounds like they're really taking care of drivers there, and that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I've got a spreadsheet of over 130 drivers that I've helped get on. Not all of them have used me as a referral. Only 8 have used me as a referral. But like I said, when I started the YouTube channel, I didn't do it for that. I did it to help some guys out. So I've got at least 130 people that I know that I've helped get on at Walmart, and then there's countless others that I didn't even bother putting on the spreadsheet after a while.
You're awesome, man.
But I appreciate it. It's a great place to work.
There's a reason why that's championship guacamole. Just saying, that's awesome.
Man, that is
Be
really
safe,
good.
Rich, and tell us one more time how everyone can find you real quick for the listeners out there, because your YouTube channel is just very phenomenal to learn a lot about the industry, and you're very informative. How can we find you one more time?
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
How do we find you, Rich? How do they find you? Give us that one more time. Rich Warne at YouTube.
Just look Rich Warne, Walmart driver. Last name Warne is actually spelled Warne.
Awesome.
Nice. Appreciate you, Rich. Be safe out there, and happy Saturday morning to you, sir.
Yeah, have a good weekend, Rich.
Will do. You guys do the same. Thank
All
you.
right, man. Thank you. Great show, Rich.
Bye.
Yep.
That's a Hall of Famer right there.
Dude, I love that guy.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man.
We're gonna have him back before the end of the year too.
That dude's a bad
he's
boy.
awesome.
So where we at? What do you think about that guacamole?
That's
Huh?
awesome.
That's pretty decent.
That's really good.
I got to get some more. That's good.
That's really good.
Very good.
You hear it on? Hey, that's live right there,
That is.
folks.
That's
Did you really
the
make that, or did you buy
championship
that?
Do you think that's enough to win?
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough to
well,
win.
that's going to win.
That's
pretty good.
I made a different one 2 Saturdays ago, and it was not even close.
So here's how dumb I am. Last night, I'm like, all right, we're having a taco bar for the birthday party today, and so I know it's kind of getting into random thoughts here a little bit, but
That's all good.
So I'm like, you know what? Let's go check out the old avocados, and if they got the right ones, I'm gonna make guacamole for it. And so I'm like, oh yeah, these are it, man. Best avocados I've felt and seen in a long time. Juicy. I mean, they were luscious. And
He still won't tell us where he found them.
So
I'm pretty
so
sure
I'm
I
like,
know.
all right, let's go through this. I need to get some of that, this, and that. And so I get to the cilantro, and like I pick it up. Oh my gosh! I don't know if you guys haven't bought cilantro lately. It's very limp.
Yeah.
You can't find any crisp good
Fresh.
cilantro, and cilantro makes for a good guacamole for you folks out there that want to make it. So I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Get home, start chopping things up. I get to the cilantro. I'm like, man, this is gonna be I'm just like losing my mind. But when you cut cilantro, you can smell it, and I'm not smelling it. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
You couldn't smell it?
No, it was parsley.
Oh, they have it in the wrong section.
No, I mean they're all mixed. They're right there together. But the bunch of parsley looks similar to
It looks-
the bunch
yeah,
of
right.
cilantro. I just got excited because how crisp it was. So I'm like, son of a biscuit. So she's like, all right, you take care of the baby. I'm gonna run to the local grocery store that we got here in town, and I'll buy you your cilantro because I had to have it, right?
Yep.
And yeah, so and then she comes back and it's all limp and wilted, and I'm like, you son of a
Dang.
biscuit.
Yeah.
You know, I was so excited. I'm like, gosh dang it. And we're going to send the oldest boy out, him and his girlfriend, to go chase it down. She's like, they won't know what it looks like. I'm like, send them with the rest of this bunch of parsley and say, read this. It's not parsley, but it looks like this.
Right.
So how long did it take you to make that?
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, by the time you mix it all up, and I got 2 tasters at the house, the middle boy and baby mama, and I kind of go off their taste. See, I'm not a
It's got a
tomato
little
guy,
bite to it.
so
I like it. like a little after bite.
Yep.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. So maybe an hour total. I mean, but then you got to clean up, and you can get messy with guacamole because it's all freshly chopped. It's all, you got to wash your vegetables. You got to do it the right way. So
how many
pretty
avocados?
good though, right?
6 avocados. Yeah. How many avocados did you use?
I only used 5 last night, but she's like, "You're going light on the avocados." I'm like, "Well, I'm not trying to make it for the walk off yet. I'm just trying to get it for
Timmy
the family."
D's Avocado Show. You're listening to Timmy D's Avocado Show.
This week brought to you by Haas.
We're going to change our logo. It's going to have an avocado with a set of headphones around it.
With wheels on it.
With a crown, with a championship crown on top. Boom.
Holding the little baby.
Yeah, there we go. There we
That's
go. You are
hilarious.
listening to the cooking portion of the show this week, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
It is coming up to walk-off time.
When
And
is it?
It's growing. It's Friday, August the 12th. I think this one's going to be our biggest one ever. We got quite a few
We'll
people
get those
that have
posters
already
out this
committed.
week. You and I need to huddle up after this show today. I'll get that information. We'll get the Indiana Blind School on there. It's actually going to be sponsored by the ShipsGonnaHappen show this year.
It is.
And thanks for the Great Divide, who sponsors the show that's going to host it again. Be willing to donate some of their profits that day to the Indiana Schools for the Blind. So it's great cause, something to come out. Look forward to it. What's the address again?
743 East New York
There
Street,
you go.
downtown Indy.
They're going through some rehab too, man. I saw the building. I passed it the other day out and about, and it looks a little rougher. I missed the old school ivy growing up the side of it that they had to tear down. So
Yeah.
Not very many places you could, as David and I were there Thursday, not very many places you could walk in and hear the whole conversation with the wine dealer. Right. And then he's busting out the samples for him.
He's from France. Like he
Right,
is
he's awesome,
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Francois is a great dude.
Yeah.
He's got a good story.
He's got a book out there, I heard too.
He does.
wrote
What's
a
the name of
book.
it? You got it, Dave.
Made in France.
Made in France, yeah.
So, and I think he's actually maybe doing a movie.
So he had a map of
France.
and then Europe on the back, a little
Italy.
section, Italy, and showed us where all the different colored wines came from. It's amazing. Yeah, pretty cool.
That was a good story.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's your topic with the stocks,
All right,
Tony B?
we'll
Let's
get
get
in.
into that
All
before
right,
we
let's
drag
do
this
it.
out and we lose the viewership here, because I know they want to know. It's been a while since you talked about those. I know you watch them daily.
All right, stocks. All right, looking at the trucking stocks, everybody, the economy's slowing down, this and that and the other. So was just looking at like like you look at ODFL, right? You look at their history. 1 year ago today, they were roughly at 358. Today they're at 258. So we're seeing a reset going on here, but they're still doing good though. They're positive. They're doing good. They're one of the stronger ones. But and then we check over to Sayo, who's really does really good as a stock performer, and could do the same thing. Look at their year; they were up at 358.46 November 21. That's not too long ago.
No.
Now they're down to 195. Maybe nothing alarming about it, but it just shows that some of that capacity has probably shortened or shrinkened, right?
Which, by the way, what that means is capacity for the people out there. What that means is there's less revenue going on the trucks is what that means. So there's less revenue coming in for the companies out there.
Yeah, so everybody's showing that about November, December, they peaked.
Yeah.
And then, they're holding steady. The industry's holding strong, I guess is my point here.
And this is ARC Best we're looking at now.
They were at 119, and now they're at 73 with a target of 112 is their 1 year target, which very strong performer. It just shows, I think, as
Has
you can
quarter
see,
two results come out yet?
some have, I think, haven't they, David? Did some come out?
I have not heard of any yet.
Maybe not.
I'm gonna say it's coming up really soon. I think we're on the peak of them coming out.
Right.
Yeah. So I think the industry's holding strong. I mean, we're still, searching for drivers and doing all that, and never.
So I heard a stat that the whole, as far as LTL wise, the entire market's down just over 4%. That's a figure someone threw out to me. Again, not backed up by any homework I've done myself, but this week I heard the industry's down. I think 4.1% was what was mentioned. So I think it goes back to a couple of shows ago, episode 67, 68, somewhere around in there, we talked about the overbuying towards the end of 2020 and all of 2021, a lot of stockpiles sitting out there, right? Instead of ordering 1, they ordered 8. So I think there's a lot of extra inventory out there as well. So
you're right.
Good point.
I think you're right. And you've had a record number of trucking companies go bankrupt.
Did we just have? Did I hear Landstar?
Yeah.
Does that sound right this week? Is that
hang on, let
breaking
me
news?
double check it. But yeah, I believe you're right.
I feel like I heard Landstar may have heard that in a rumor mill out there. That maybe Landstar, maybe just locally or going out of business, whatever it was, but it's out there.
Yeah, they
which is a huge company. I mean, that's like a Celadon. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, that was definitely a shock when Celadon went out. I'm like, what? It seemed like they were so strong.
But yeah, I thought I heard maybe Landstar was either got bought out or closing the doors or something was going on with Landstar. Hey, shoot us a note. Let us know what you know about Landstar. Maybe you work for Landstar. Let us know what you know.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Did they strand you out there like they did the Celadon drivers? I'd be curious to know that.
Send us an email or comment on one
You're going to be
videos.
online applying for Walmart anyways. You're right there. Just send us the email too.
Rich Warne will be your leader and
It's
your
an
provider of
amazing.
knowledge.
So he is the second or third Walmart driver we've had on here, and they've all talked about their mentor.
Right.
That is strong.
And they're doctor like the doctor driver programs what the LTL does, which is a smart play. You're going to get a better employee, I think.
Absolutely. And I just think it just speaks to the volumes of, and I'll be honest, I'm not a big Walmart user or whatnot, or shopper, I should say, but you hear these guys, and they're my mentor, and now I mentor so many people like Rich, there's 130 people I've helped out, this or that. That's crazy to show that large of a company and the buy-in from the employees. That shows you they're doing something right.
And what's cool is they're not one of the companies out there, not that I know of, pushing the electric or driverless trucks, right? I mean, they're making a huge commitment to
5,000 more drivers.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge, man. Whether you like them or not, for what we do, that's top notch.
Yeah.
So
just remember, next time you eat a T-bone steak, it's from Rich.
Yeah, in the region.
In the region. When he said Region Radio, that's like a perfect name for a radio.
It is Region Radio.
Region Radio.
Go ahead, do it, Tony. Region
You're
Radio.
listening to Region Radio.
Being a region rat.
Yeah.
From the Region Radio.
But that's all it was. David, you want to get into random thoughts here?
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second here. Let me set you up. Gosh dang, I got off the. David B, hit us with those random thoughts.
So this week, the only thing I have this week is when we've already talked about it. Pretty much, most of the show is the walk off that's coming up Friday, August 12th. We already have people that haven't participated before. I think Jeremy's going to participate. Matty Ice is participating. We have quite a few people. Donna's going to put one in. The house will put one in. Timmy D, myself. It'll be a good time, and again, it's for a good cause. So $5 to come and participate and vote what you think is the best walk, and it'll be a good time from noon to 6 on Friday, August the 12th at the Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. So
nice.
It'll be fun. And
what's the random thought?
I don't have one.
No random. Timmy D's got one. You got one.
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I would just suggest anytime you commit to something or sign a contract with the contractor, you should record all your conversations so that when they say, well, we didn't talk about that, you're like, we talked about it. So I would highly suggast that when you're out there.
Life lesson learned.
Yeah. But it's coming along, man. I'll show you guys a picture of it. It looks pretty decent.
I have a well, maybe not a random thought.
Come on,
Go ahead.
hit us. Come on.
Let's do it.
So, guess where I'm going September 10th?
Oh, let's see. Where are you? Oh, I know the answer to this.
You know the answer?
I do. So that's an off day for us. Just so now let's get
sorry.
that out there. Nope. It's
Is
fine.
that a Saturday?
It
Yeah.
is.
Oh, okay. So September 10th.
He's going west.
West.
He's going to go west.
Denver?
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh.
Timmy D from 3.
Dave Matthews. Matty G's going to be jealous.
Yes. That's the week after.
Are you going to like an amphitheater? Or
Yeah,
it
it's
at?
outdoor at the Fiddlers, something it's
I
called.
thought it would be Red Rocks, but it's not.
It's not Red Rocks. It's Fiddlers. It's the same kind of outdoor amphitheater. But I tell you, I've been to a lot of concerts outside this. We've talked about this outside this state, right? And looking at that amphitheater online. And I've been to Wisconsin, Alpine Valley, right? Been to lots of places in California, Washington to see concerts. I'm telling you, Noblesville's badass, dude. That is a great place, man.
I've never.
You've never been to Deer Creek?
I mean,
or Rudolph or whatever it is today?
So we were looking around, right? And so this stadium in Denver holds, Clips now.
No,
Yeah,
it's Rudolph.
Oh, it's Rudolph. That's right. Switch
I'm
the,
just
It's
getting
Deer
there.
Creek, folks.
tricking me,
It's
David.
freaking Deer Creek.
There we go.
but they seat 24, 26,000 at Deer Creek. Most of these other places are just 16 to 18,000. So I mean, I don't think we really appreciate that for what it's worth. man.
Right.
I mean, it is a good time.
So talk to me about Denver. How did this come about?
So Ann likes Dave
question.
Matthews. She's a big follower of Dave Matthews. So we hadn't really gone anywhere late than like a trip, other than spring break. So we
Just
thought,
you and Mama?
no, we decided to take the kids and
Contain your excitement when you say that.
yeah, sorry. Well, the daughter's flying, and then we'll drive. So
driving.
Yeah, so we'll drive. Me, Ann, and the boy, and then once he wants to buy his own ticket. But I refuse to pay for airplane tickets. I
feel like
it's
Denver's
this extra
fairly cheap.
$1,000, man. It's like
Well, for the whole family.
yeah, I could drive. It's 15 hours, man. Right.
And you'd probably spend 15 hours in the MF and airport.
Right, exactly. Exactly. That's what I hate about flying these days is you go 2 hours early, right? I flew somewhere not too long ago. Was it Virginia? Yeah. I swear to God, I could have been there. It's 8-hour drive, and I debated on driving, and I didn't. 10 hours later, I arrived because of all the bull crap going on. So I was like, I should have just drove.
You'll have a good scenic drive out.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. Yeah.
It's literally 70 across.
Yeah, right.
There's nothing else to it. I mean, I rode the Harley out there. It's 70 across.
I haven't been out through there in a long time.
Pick up your pace when you get past Kansas City. It's a minimum. I think they have a speed limit sign that says minimum 80 mile an hour.
Really?
Oh yeah. There ain't nothing to see, and you better have gas because there ain't nothing to go.
Just wheat fields.
We had to go see a farmer. One of our guys ran out of gas on his motorcycle. We're on gravel when we got off the exit. We had to go see a farmer to get gas out of his barn.
Really?
Luckily, he was running around. Yeah, paid us
Was
some
that
cash.
long before you could get gas?
We just ran. It was an older bike that didn't have a gas gauge or anything, and we all had about a quarter of a tank left, and his just ran out of gas.
Dang.
So make sure you got gas. Get that old Petro. Or as my oldest boy would call me and say, "It's still 87 that I got to put in this vehicle." Really, we're going with 87, not regular, not mid grade.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
That's all I had. I mean, big thing for us, I guess,
That'd be
be
a
fun.
good trip.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
That'd be awesome. So do you because she's a big follower of Dave Matthews, is that because do you like Dave Matthews or are you forced to follow with
Yeah,
her?
he's mine and Dave's age, and when we were in college, he was big.
Yeah.
So it was when I was DJing, I always played him.
Yeah.
So liked him. Actually didn't know about him. Some guy at the bar said, hey, play some Dave. I'm like, who's Dave? Dave Matthews. Who the hell's that? And he actually had a DVD or disc, and he tossed it to me, and I was like, oh wait, he sings Satellite? So I was like, I didn't know that. So then I started getting into it. But if that guy would have never mentioned him that night, I don't know. I would probably eventually discovered him.
He
but
has a huge following. I mean,
he does, dude.
huge.
What we were talking about last week, Tim, he's like the 600, he's worth 600 billion. 600 million. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I missed my calling then, because in case you guys couldn't tell, this great voice of mine, I'm holding a note, man. I'd be all over that.
Timmy D and his, what is it? Avocado Show. It's the Guac Show with Timmy D.
Yeah.
Dude, he's going to leave us to a guac podcast. It's the guac podcast.
Hey, I just want you guys to try it on air. You heard it here.
Dude, it was awesome.
They said it's pretty decent. So.
It's got a little bite in there, like after bite. I like that. It's not too strong. It's very mild.
Speaking of after bite, like we were drinking Stella's last night, and there's an after.
Really?
I don't know.
Bad bottling.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's this?
Got that out of a Stroh's bottle one time.
And this was draft. This was draft Stella.
Oh, yeah.
I like a good draft Stella, man.
Yeah, normally it's really good, but last night,
It's probably because all the beer you had Thursday and the beer you had Wednesday.
well, there is,
Mixed in.
there is that. I don't remember anything about it. Tony's like, how'd it go? And I'm like, I don't know. What
It was good for you. It was good for me.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't know much else.
Well, folks, man, you guys have a great weekend. It's always great seeing you too.
Yeah, happy Ship's Gonna Happen.
Appreciate it. Glad to be back, and you listen to Ship's Gonna Happen. And what episode number is this? You didn't announce that, so I can say Alexa, play episode 72. There we go, big 72.
Wrap us out, Tim. Call us out here.
I got nothing else. We do it for the transportainment. Appreciate you guys, and listen to Ship's Gonna Happen podcast.